Palantir, I thought I would react to Palantir in the big move all of a sudden this stock is making right now, and kind of my perspectives on this, kind of my opinions of this, like why is Palantir all of a sudden moving up again, right? I mean, the short seller said this baby was going back to $6, now all of a sudden it's moving up again, making a big move. I log on today to Fidelity and in the public count, up 6% today on Palantir, and I'm like, it's not like it's that good of a day in the market, right? And it's not like Palantir reported earnings or something like that. So this is just a 6% move out of nowhere. And I mean, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 0.11% today. The S&P 500 was up 0.38%. And the NASDAQ was the big performer of the bunch, up 0.5%. And there we have Palantir making a 6% move. But this is just part of a move over the last several days. Check this stock out in the past 5 days. It's up 16.5% in 5 days. Now, keep in mind, if you know anything about the stock market, usually if you can make 8% a year on stocks, like people are happy with that, right? 12% in a year on stocks, people are really super happy. 16%, people are jumping over the moons. This stock has went up 16.5% in 5 trading days. 5 days? Like, what in the flip and flapjacks are we talking about here, right? So let's go ahead and jump into this. I want to share some perspectives and opinions on why Palantir is all of a sudden making this upward move, kind of where I think the stock's headed from here, and why I believe that. So hope you guys enjoy this as always. By the way, I think we just hit 34,300 subscribers. I believe we just hit that number. We're super close to it. So I appreciate every single person that subscribed to the channel. Thanks so much for being here, folks, as always. Okay. So reason one, all right, is Nvidia has started to come back, right? Nvidia is the crown jewel of kind of the AI movement. We know why. It's because they're selling all the chips and the infrastructure to make all AI software really run, right, and go. And we've heard the biggest of the big companies are ordering these Nvidia chips left and right. That's why Nvidia's revenues are skyrocketing. Everybody's from the Teslas and the SpaceXs, from what we're hearing, to, you know, companies like Google McDougal and Mr. Softy and, you know, Meta, like the whole list of them, right? Throw pretty much almost every big, large tech company in there, and they're ordering a ton of Nvidia chips right now. Never mind international folks ordering these chips, and even smaller companies as well. So when Nvidia starts to rocket again, right, which it was very strange what happened with Nvidia, right? The stock, oh, I guess we're switching cameras. Very strange what happened with Nvidia. So everybody was fearful, like, oh, maybe Nvidia's numbers are made up. Maybe they're not going to come through with those numbers. And then they come through with shockingly great numbers. Then on top of that, they come through with this guidance that's just blow your top off. Like no one, even the most bullish bulls, never saw that guidance coming. Even the most bullish people, right? And so you had this dynamic where it was a blow off top, but yet the stock didn't really move on that, right? Moved up initially and then back down, and then it was down, and it was kind of like, what in the world's going on here? Like this company just reported these insane numbers and this insane guidance, but there was kind of a belief that maybe, at least for the initial day or two, maybe like that's as good as it gets for Nvidia, right? But the more you hear more partnerships, the more you hear companies just, ordering these chips left and right, the more you start to say, I don't know if this is just something that's here today, gone tomorrow. This might have 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years of a runway here. And this isn't like just a 1-2 quarter thing like some of the short sellers and some of the bears were kind of putting out there, right? And so it's always very dangerous to just run to assumptions that aren't what's going on in reality at that given time, right? It's always a risky kind of proposition there. So Nvidia's running now at this point in time. That's certainly helping out Palantir. Now, second piece, which in my opinion is just as important, if not more important, happened on the Snowflake conference call. Okay, Snowflake conference call happened Wednesday after the bell, along with Nvidia. But what happened on that Snowflake conference call, in my opinion, was just as important as Nvidia, if not more important. Okay, so the question was from the analysts, all right, I guess my kind of follow-up is, Nvidia reported results tonight. I think looking at the numbers, the data center revenue rose by 150% sequentially. It's insane. But clearly, like AI spend is hitting the silicon layer, right? A question I get from investors, when will AI more clearly hit the software layer, right? Which is where, let's just call it, there's going to be many, many companies making a ton of money. From the chip side, it seems like there's only going to be a few. Nvidia certainly. AMD should be there really more so next year, right? Maybe you say Intel, we'll see about them. But there's only a few companies. From the software, it's going to dwarf the size of the chip side, right? Do you have any thoughts on that? And here's what the executives of Snowflake said. They said, I think it's going to be next year. meaning 2024 is when we're going to start seeing revenue from the software side. As I said, it's going to take some time for AI, and people are still struggling to get GPUs, and there's a time lag between when a chip manufacturer sells their chips to it gets built into the hardware that actually gets deployed into a rack in a data center, and it gets deployed to customers, right? Which is him basically saying, this is a process. Don't get too excited, in the short term here about numbers. Short term really meaning over this past quarter, this upcoming quarter. Like, this is really a 2024 story. Frank Slootman, the big dog boss at Snowflake, what does he say? He says, I think you will see the leading actually happening in the months to come, but the material impact, I think most analysts out there are seeing in 2024 and tend to agree with that. So basically Frank Slootman and Mike, the two big dogs over there at Snowflake, are basically saying, yeah, you'll start to see this software side of AI start to generate substantial, revenues, but that's going to be a 2024 story. It's not this year. This year is about hardware. Next year can start to be about hardware and software, and then as you go into 25 and beyond, you're probably going to be a lot more of a software story. Okay, so that matters substantially, and that was I felt like it was a breath of fresh air. And remember, all big dog Palantir shareholders, they're all listening to Snowflake conference call. Okay, I definitely don't consider myself a Palantir big dog shareholder with my 90K of shares in the public account, right? But the people that got millions in this stock, believe me, I do research work on all my stocks like I have millions invested in them. But in terms of like all the people that got tens of millions, hundreds of millions in Palantir stock, those folks are listening to this Snowflake call, and I guarantee you they liked what they heard there because they're saying, okay, this is coming. Everybody got too excited too fast. Okay, next reason. And I think Palantir all of a sudden started moving up here recently, is it seems like day after day, all of a sudden, you're starting to see on this more software related side, service after service all of a sudden offering AI related products, right? This was yesterday. I got this message. Loom AI is officially out for beta. Try it free for the next few videos, then add it to your plan for $4 a month, right? So we're at the infant stage of companies starting to monetize kind of on the software side with these beta programs and whatnot, right? Duet AI for Google Workspace is $30 per month per user for the enterprise, right? This just came out a couple days ago. OpenAI launches ChatGPT Enterprise, the company's biggest announcement since ChatGPT's debut. Okay, it's available starting today, and this was as of a few days ago, right? The tool has been in development for less than a year, and it's had the help of more than 20 companies of varying sizes and industries. OpenAI COO said to CNBC, some of the companies included Block, Canva, Estee Lauder. So this is something that's going on out there, right? More and more you're hearing, okay, companies are starting to actually get this stuff out there. They'll start generating some sorts of revenues this year, but the big dog revenue is really coming next year and then obviously in future years past that, right? Because you think about this, right? Like something like the Loom AI, right? And by the way, Loom AI is one of the sickest AIs I've actually seen. It's incredible. So let's say, you sign up for Loom AI. Do you think it's going to be $4 a month forever? No, of course not. Eventually, it's going to be $6 a month, then it's going to be $8 a month, then it's going to be $10 a month, and $12 a month, and $14 a month. And if you obviously love that product, you're going to continue to use it. So that's what's coming there, okay? Now, next up here is specific in regards to Palantir, right? Because people looked at the Palantir numbers, and they weren't that great, right? In terms of like, it wasn't like they were bad numbers. It's just like they met expectations, and everybody was so excited about the whole AI thing. They're like expecting AI numbers to start hitting now. And what we're finding out is AI is going to hit. It's going to hit 2024 and beyond, right? And so when that quarter was announced, a lot of people just there was like a letdown of like, oh man, they only come in and met expectations. And then they did raise their full year forecast. But the problem was they raised their full year forecast, and it was like a relatively smaller amount, let's just call it that, for what some folks were anticipating and expecting out of Palantir. There, a lot of folks had kind of run to the assumption that Palantir is going to come through with that Nvidia quarter. It's going to knock everybody's socks off, and no one saw it coming, and it's just going to shock people. They might still come in with that quarter eventually. It just doesn't look like it's right now, because none of these companies on the software side are really getting that money in right now. They're in talks with companies setting things up really for the end of this year and obviously into 2024, but that's kind of what's going on there, right? Now, you hear a lot of excitement, obviously, in the AI space, and you hear about the revenues coming in, right? That will be coming in 24 and beyond. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are kind of looking at Palantir numbers and saying, you know, for the next many quarters, right? And we can say this upcoming quarter, maybe there's no significant AI revenue still, right? Because like everybody's talking about, it's really a 2024 and beyond story. So, but then you kind of get into fiscal Q4. I would imagine Palantir will start at least generating a decent amount of AI related revenue of some kind, maybe not crazy, but something there, right? And then in 2024, so analysts don't have them growing 20% any quarter next year, right? Any quarter. And so I think there's maybe a little bit of a thought process starting to brew about like, is that even realistic, right? Because with the sort of a demand from folks kind of, you know, in the expectations, is it really realistic that Palantir is going to grow less than 20% every quarter next year? Or are they going to maybe post a few quarters in there that are well above 20%, right? And so I think that's just a thought process that people are running through. You got to always run through the risk reward scenarios. And there's certainly a potential scenario that it could be a lot better than kind of what we're seeing there, right? Now, in terms of Palantir stock, there is an issue. And that issue is we're going to be in no man's land here for a little bit, right? This is, unless we get any big announcements out of the company, earnings are still a little over 2 months away, right? So we have earnings a little over 2 months away. If we don't get any major announcements, then, you know, this is one of those situations where the stock will build, it will fall back down, it will build, it will fall back down, and it will kind of, you know, let's just call it be in a range of, let's call it maybe like $15 to $19, something like that, right? But if the other situation is something that Palantir all of a sudden comes out with some big announcements over the next couple months in between now and earnings, then maybe get people excited, which is always a possibility. You've certainly heard on the hardware side, companies making a lot of announcements. Do we hear anything from Palantir kind of on the software side with some big announcements with some big name companies? You hear something like that, then you can kind of take the next leg higher and excitement starts to build if it's some sort of big announcement. But other than that, we're kind of in no man's land in the short term with Palantir here. So that's my opinions and perspectives. Appreciate everybody joining me as always. Thanks so much for being here, folks. Thanks for being subscribed to the channel. Much love and have a great day.